Hey, welcome to Dave Darren Show. I've got a cool guy on, George. Let's call it what's that thing? Capo, right on the guitar. Capo. It's Capon, though, right?
Yeah, I mean normally it's normally Capon. People normally at school used to say Capon. That was the way that people remember the names.
Easy to remember now. So George, tell me about your music. You're on the show here. This is kind of the show that we got to rock out. We got to be really good with this show because I got to rebuild the audience for you guys. So give me the excitement level that George has got going on in his life. What's going on?
It's kind of I was in a band for a long time. I did a lot of rock music, and I always loved pop music. I always really appreciated especially 80s pop music that my mum listened to quite a bit when I was a kid. And then I kind of thought, well, I've always been a guitarist. I've always seen myself as kind of more of a guitar player than a singer. So I feel like it is guitar-driven pop. Like it is kind of layers of guitar and then vocal on top of that. You know, if that makes sense. I think a lot of the vocal melodies were originally written on guitar as well. So that's kind of how I like to sort of see it. Is it kind of separates me from a lot of the the pop princes of the world and makes me a little bit more kind of indie, really. So I think that's the best way to describe it.
Okay, now let me ask you this question because I am a guitar player also. I'm a guitar player from the 70s and the 80s. And of course, I played in a punk band for a while. We did some pop. We actually did some disco stuff for a while as well.
Oh,
but
wow.
let me ask you, pop of the 80s versus pop of today. Now, you said you like the pop of the 80s. What do you like pop music of today?
I do. You know what I do?
You do?
It's like... I remember being in high school, and I don't know whether it's because it was that teen angst of the 90s or the 80s were better, but I kind of look back and I think there were some great songs, but I think nowadays music it seems to be a lot better. It seems to be kind of more intellectual from a musician's perspective, right? So it seems to be a lot more interesting stuff going on from my perspective nowadays, you know. Over here, I don't know how big they are in the US, but we have the 1975 that are an amazing band that are kind of playing a lot of 80s influenced stuff. Really, that's really interesting. So I don't know. Have you guys heard of those, or have you heard of those?
No. I'm going to look them up after the show here. Maybe I can have them on. So that'd be kind of cool. So thanks for shouting them out.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think even in the States, there's some great people right now making. You like Charlie Puth. But that guy is an amazing musician. Like he's got perfect pitch, which means that for people that don't know, it means that he can hear any note and he knows what that note is, which is something that very few people actually have. So yeah,
people have relative pitch. I know what that is. Perfect pitch. I know what that is as well. That's right. I know
yeah,
that both.
Yeah.
Okay, so
perfect pitch. I'm not going to lie. Don't quote me on that. But I think because I saw an interview with him and he was like playing a note. He was like, "Oh, that's a B," and I was like, "You must have perfect pitch."
Yeah, actually, I had someone on my show one time who was a female, and she kept, why perfect pitch is coming back to my mind now. She kept on saying she's got perfect pitch, and I actually called her a perfect bitch because she was a pain in the ass with the show. So tell me about some of your influences, since you were talking about pop music now and influences back. Well, Prince was one of them, obviously. You mentioned Prince, I think, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, Prince is more because when I was growing up, my mum and my dad, they both listened to George Michael was a big one. Yeah. But it was like a subconscious thing, because it was always on from the moment I was born until maybe 6 or 7. But I kind of grew up on really have you heard of a band called the Kooks? See, a lot of these bands, are the Kooks big in America or?
Don't know. I'm going to look them up too. Are they still together, or are they a band from the 80s?
Yeah, they're a band from 2008. I think they released their first album. So it's kind of later, but they're massively influenced by the Kings, who are later.
I love them, right?
Yeah, so I think it was really the Kooks and then John Mayer as well, who's not that big over here. It's massive in the States. So nobody knew my love for him. I kept going on about this incredible guitar player, and not many people over here really. I think more so now, but I think back in maybe sort of 9 years ago, not so many people had heard of John Mayer. So yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm a guitar player and I sing a little bit, but I can't mash them both together. Now,
right, okay.
Now, is that a talent in itself? Because to be a great performer on the guitar and a great performer as a frontman vocalist, Seems like it takes two different people to do that. Now you got people who pull it off, like I happen to like Neil Diamond, so he's a guy that plays very bad guitar, by the way, like 3 chords and that's about it. But he's got the vocals going on with the guitar playing. So how about you? Did you start off as a vocalist and the guitar player, the sideline guitar player first, vocalist? Did you separate them and didn't do both together, and suddenly you started thinking, I got to do both because I want to perform, sing, and do the guitar?
Yeah. I think it was a very natural sort of thing. I've sung. My mum sang and sort of played piano at home and organ and whatnot, and I kind of always found that singing was a very natural thing. I think from an early age, and I started playing guitar. I think it was because everyone else was doing it, so it wasn't like a natural thing. I think it was one of those things where, spur of the moment, I think a friend of mine in middle school was doing it. I thought like she give that a go. So I started. I think it was maybe 10 or 11 when I started. And then what happened was I went to a music college, a really great music college back home, and which the Isle of Wight. Not many people have heard of that place, but that's where I'm from. And there's a music college there, and we did like a Saturday. We called it a Saturday rock school. And what we would do is we'd have like an hour working doing like guitar lessons, and then an hour working with the drummers and the bass players and everyone else. And we would get together and just like play whatever song was given to us on that day. And it kind of came naturally to me to decide to sing at that moment. And I always found that there weren't that many singers around anyway. So it was sort of lumped to me as well. You know, it was kind of given to me. And, yeah.
Cool. Now, you know what we're going to do now? We're going to play a piece of your music while I've got a task for you now. I got some homework to do for you now. I'm sure the angle of where I'm seeing you right now. I don't see the guitar, but I'm sure there's a guitar around you, right? There is. So while we play a piece of your music that's on YouTube, you know what we're going to do? We're going to ask you to play something live. Can you do that?
Yeah, of course. No problem.
Okay, what are we going to play from one of your samples of your music you got available? Let's start off with that.
I mean, Underground and Breathe are the 2 singles that are out at the moment. So if you type in my name and then Underground or Breathe after it, then those will come up.
Cool. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to rock that out while George is getting ready to bring his guitar. And by George, we're going to hear some music from George. Okay, so here we go, guys.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's slightly out of tune. It's like the way you presented it was very spur of the moment.
Okay. By the way, does this number 7710737530 mean anything to you?
Say again, sir?
Does the number 77107350 mean anything to you?
I don't think so.
Turn around.
Oh, right. Okay, I teach guitar. I teach guitar in the daytime. So
there we go. That's the way to hook up with George if you want to have guitar lessons. It is 77107530. Did I leave any numbers out?
That's the White Stripes.
Okay, there we go.
There you go. I thought you were reading out my phone number. I was like, what? What's going on? Yeah, there you go, White Stripes.
Okay.
There you go. It seemed tune enough, I think.
Cool. Okay. So what are we going to hear from George here? Let's rock it out. It's going to be cool. I love this. And you're sounding good, by the way. If the audio wasn't clear and really sounded sweet, I wouldn't ask you to do this. But you got a good connection, so it's going to be fun. So what do we got?
I'll be brief. Brief.
Okay. Here we go. There's George on the Dave Barron Show. Here we go. George with no Capon on his guitar. No Capon.
Okay, cool. When my nervous system has healed, stabilize myself and lower this tight shield. Don't pretend that you sunk my heart. We'll always tear it all apart and bring back the love again. Bring back the love again. Bring back the love again. Love again. A bit of time can shed some light. Said no words could ever rectify a lie. Don't pretend that you sunk my heart. We'll always tear it all apart. Bring back the love again. Bring back the love again. Love again. Bring back the love again. Breathe in, breathe out. You will never fall through. And breathe in, breathe out. You will never be misconstrued. So breathe in, breathe out. You will never fall through. And breathe in, breathe out. You will never be misconstrued, so breathe in, breathe out. You will never fall through, and breathe in, breathe out. You will never be misconstrued, so breathe in, breathe out. You will never fall through, and breathe in, breathe out. You will never be misconstrued. That song's great for. My next door neighbor is having a new baby. When she goes into the hospital and she's giving birth, I want to play this song for her. Breathe out, breathe in. Yeah. 100%. That's a new meaning to that song right there, isn't it?
Right. Now, how long did this take you to write music? Do you sit down and you realize, okay, today I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write, or do you have to be inspired?
It's odd, isn't it? Because I feel like I saw an interview with Ed Sheeran, and he says that creativity with writing music is like a dirty tap. So obviously in the beginning you turn it on, there's just shit water coming out, but the more you write, the more clean that water gets. Huh. So I think I've got a lot of friends that say, they only write when they're inspired, but I do believe that if you keep writing, you're kind of sharpening the knife for when you do feel inspired. So you've had all the practice, and then when you do get inspired, it's a bit like a footballer or a basketball player or whatever. They're practicing on a regular basis when the lights are off and the audience isn't there. The crowd's not there, and then when it comes to the big stage, they're ready to kind of perform. Really, I feel like songwriting is quite similar to that in that respect, for sure. Yeah. So that's a long answer. The short answer is I do write. I try and write as often as I can, just to kind of be ready for when inspiration does happen. Although it's on and off, because I do find that the best songs I write happen when I'm doing the least writing, which is kind of odd as well. Yeah. So do try is I'll often do like a long session of writing for try and write a song a day for maybe a month or something, and then the next month it tends to, when the inspiration dries up and then it comes back, and then I tend to write the good ones at that point. So it's quite a strange pattern that I'm kind of still learning, if that makes sense. But
yeah. Hey, here's a question for you. Okay, so you've written a song. Say you wrote this song and you think, oh my God, I must have been so inspired when I wrote that song. It came out quickly, came out naturally, and it is at the moment your favorite song. So when you've hit that pinnacle, is there any fear from your perspective that, oh my God, I hit that pinnacle, how am I going to pass that? My audience, my fans love it. It's my current number one song. Everyone wants to hear it when I'm on stage. Any fear of that pinnacle and them surpassing the pinnacle?
100%, because when that inspiration does hit, you don't think, one of the keys to writing songs is getting rid of that thought process of where am I going next? What if I fuck this song up now? Halfway through, it's sounding really good. I've got just a bridge to do or a middle, and what if I do a rubbish bridge and a great, there's all these things going on in your head, and I just think you need to just sort of stay positive. If you can write, you're only going to get better at writing. So if you can write that, you can write a much better one in the future, I think. Especially when I think people stop writing good stuff when they, artists in particular, they write great songs when they're sort of living a normal life, and when they become super successful, sometimes that sort of dries up over the years. Yeah. But I think as long as you're young and you're putting yourself in new situations, I feel like you're always going to have good things to say and important things to say.
Yeah. Now, here's a question for you. I've had some singer-songwriters on the show, and I've had some people that are just songwriters who typically don't sing their own songs. And what happened is, I remember one, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's pretty popular, though. I should have his name off the top of my head. Of course, I know all the singers he's written songs for, but I remember when I interviewed him, and I asked him, I said this question. I said, so how do you write? Is the pressure on where, a Celine Dion's coming up to you and says, I got all the songs for my album, and you've written for me before, and he has written for her before. Does she come up to you and say, I gotta have this song, I gotta have it in 2 weeks because I'm going out to record, there's a blank, I need another song, write it for me? And I found out from him that what he does is he writes a lot of material, so he's always got a backlog of songs that he matches with the artist. So if Celine Dion comes up to him, he's got a selection of 5 or 6 songs that he thinks would work for her, both in the quality of music she presents, etc. So questions to you is, if you had the pressure to write a song, could you do it? A 2-week turnaround. You got a movie coming out, they want you to write. Can you put that pressure into your head and come out with a product?
I think so. I'd like to think so. But then we'll see. I've never been in that situation, so I've never... the most pressure I've had is, the last thing came out, I don't have a song that I think is single-worthy, so I've got to write that. I had maybe a month and I got it out. But... that's pressure, isn't it? Really, especially when the money's there as well, and people are relying on you. And I don't know. I guess so. I'd like to think so, but I guess you never know until you try, right? And everything's online. Right. You have to look.
Now, how do you get the? I'm a guy that I like lyrics a lot. I listen to words. That's the type of guy I am. So now, when you write a song, and you're writing the words to the piece of music, are you writing from pure imagination or from your inward, what's happened in your life so far, or is it a mix of both? It probably could be. Maybe it is.
A lot of it's subconscious. A lot of it. I mean, it's difficult because I'll listen to a song back and I'll think, oh shit, yeah, that's that, and this is from this time and whatever. But it often is. Because when I come up with like a lead line, I have something that I think, oh, that's really cool, and I use that. It's often, I'm often just using words to fill in the syllables that I want to use in the melody. Mm-hmm. So I'm not actually thinking about that. I'll often create, like a lead line that's got words in it, and then I will use that as kind of like a starting point, and then use like my life experience to create something around that, I think. But I think it's 50-50. Sometimes something just comes up with Underground. I didn't know what I was writing about until about halfway through, and I was like, oh shit, this is what it's about. And then I kind of finished it.
Right.
So, yeah, whereas Breathe was a bit more kind of obvious. I kind of knew what I wanted to write about with Breathe.
Uh-huh. Okay, so let's get back to, I'm curious about this with Underground. You said you wrote it, and then was there a break in between? In other words, I'm going to ask you this question. When you write something, but it's not really coming to full fruition yet, do you put it like in an archive and say, look, I'll come back to it maybe in 3 weeks, I'll remember where I was, I'll have a fresh inspiration for it? Is there like an archive, is there like a black box you stick stuff in and then eventually pull it back out and say, yeah, I'm going to complete that now?
There is, for sure. I mean, one of them, the most recent one that's going to come out next is a song called Artifact, and I was actually, it was on, because I've got my phone, so I'm on Android, but it's kind of like voice notes, similar sort of thing. And I've just got like so many songs on there. And sometimes I just sit there, and I'll look through like the kind of last 3 months of all the songs that I've got on there. And it takes forever, but I'll often have like my girlfriend or someone else listening to it so they can say, oh, I like this one. Or because I always worry, like, what if I made something that is decent, that everyone would really enjoy, but I don't like it, and so I'm missing out because I don't like it. And there was one that I thought I didn't really like it, but I didn't think it was good enough to be a single. And my girlfriend said, she was like, oh, this is, I really like this one. And then kind of brought it to fruition. And then I started working on it from there. And once I finished it, I was like, oh, this is probably better than the previous two. So sometimes that happens. Other times, like Underground, it just streams out, everything's there. The song is written in like 15, 20 minutes, which, is a bit manic really, it's a bit crazy. I've also been in with bands before. I've been in like the rehearsal studio, and it probably takes a lot of patience to deal with me, because we'll be jamming and I'll just go, oh, I've got something. Anyone else has to just shut up, so I can get this thing out. So it often is spurred the way. Again, 50-50. It kind of depends really. I think in order to make the most of kind of your powers as a songwriter, you have to do a bit of both,
Okay. Let's play another song now. Can we play anything else? It doesn't have to be live. It could be the pre-recorded stuff.
Yeah, whatever you want.
When my nervous system has healed, I stabilize myself and lower this tattered shield. Don't pretend that you sunk my heart. We'll always tear it all apart and bring back the love again. 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 A bit of time could shed some light. Said no words could ever rectify a lie. Don't pretend that you've sunk my heart. We'll always tear it all apart and bring back the love again. 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 Breathe in, breathe out, you won't ever fall through. And breathe in, breathe out, you won't ever be misconstrued. So breathe in, breathe out, you won't ever fall through. And breathe in, breathe out, you won't ever be misconstrued. So breathe in, breathe out, you won't ever fall through. And breathe in, breathe out, you won't ever be misconstrued. So breathe in, breathe out, you will never fall through. And breathe in, breathe out, you will never be misconstrued.
Let's get back to George on the Dave Darren Show. I did have a couple other questions for you, and I will ask them. When you're with the band, and now you're more of a solo performer, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, I do have a band with me most of the time.
Right, so how do you get them? How do you engage them? Are they like studio musicians? Are they people that you know that you're asking them if they've got some time, here's the piece of music? How do you work that out? Well, one of them is a friend of mine. Well, they're all friends of mine. One of them was a friend of mine before he joined the band. And then the other two were friends of friends, basically. So it kind of just, they are really great guys that basically don't get paid and, use their time as just kind of do it because they like it, I think. They must like the music and see something there and just decide to do it. And they are absolutely amazing. I mean, the thing is that having the band is such it kind of brings the song to life in such a greater way than just me playing acoustic. I mean, me playing acoustic is great, but those guys, they do an amazing job of kind of bringing it up a little bit further, if that makes sense, taking it to the next level. And they're just amazing. They're really great musicians. They are probably ready to go off on a world tour any moment. They're really solid musicians. So yeah, they just do it out of love, just doing it out of kindness, the kindness in their hearts. So if you had a choice of whether you like writing or performing or recording, out of those three, which do you like? Is there a preference out of those three?
I think my ego would say performing, but I do enjoy writing. I think performing is like, it's great to kind of, it's just great to have people singing your songs. I think that's probably the thing about being a songwriter. I think that's the edge that singer-songwriters have over people that often don't write their songs and sing them live. Just great performance. Is that there's something about, I can only imagine how amazing it would be for Springsteen to have, Dance in the Dark sung back to him by 95,000 people. Like, that must be just the greatest feeling ever. So, yeah, I think songwriting, yeah.
How do you introduce a new song? You got your music that you've got out there, and you want to introduce a new song to an audience that's sitting there. It doesn't matter how many people are there, it's an audience. So how do you introduce that? Do you first introduce it to, would you rather introduce it to a small group to see how it's taken off? Do you put it on the web to see how many people like the song that's on the web? Or do you just wing it and you think, okay, I have confidence in the song, I want to go out there and perform it, and that's the way it goes? How do you introduce a new song?
Normally, I mean, Spotify, I just send it everywhere. Spotify, SoundCloud, everywhere, to be honest. And then just try and get as many people to listen to it and get a bit of feedback. I think a lot of them have been played live before anyway. Now I think about it, it kind of depends. It depends when I write it, if there's a gig before I write it, or how it kind of works. But this most recent one that's coming out, it got a good reception live, and the band liked it, and a lot of the people quite close to me really liked it. So that's kind of why that's a single. But yeah, I mean, in terms of bringing it out, I think the internet is probably the most powerful tool for finding out what people think, right? So,
now you mentioned the internet's a powerful tool. So I've had some bands come on, and every member of the band is by far in a geologically separate place, and they're not even close. So they do everything electronically. Could you pull that off? Do you like that approach? Do you think you'd attempt that approach? What do you think about that?
Yes. Why not? I mean, if you're, obviously there's limitations, but if you're like a very successful musician in particular, you're not stopped by anything like that. If you're doing a world tour, everyone's got a local show in that respect. Whether there's one in Australia, one in the States, one in the UK, it'll work, And I think it's only becoming more viable as time goes on and tech gets better. So yeah.
Absolutely, pretty cool. So what's going on? Do you have any gigs coming up? Any scheduled events? Or
at the moment, it's quiet, to be honest. I'm sort of I'm just going to release this. At the moment, my goal is just to release as much music as possible because I just want as many people to hear my music as possible. I've only got 2 songs out at the moment, so I've got a lot of work to do on that front.
Right.
And just keep building the fan base, to be honest with you. I just want to be. I just want to kind of be as genuine and as kind of authentic as possible, if that makes sense. I just want to kind of my sound probably isn't completely complete yet, so it's all a work in progress, really.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's as much music as possible.
Great. How do people connect with George? Are you a guy that likes Twitter better, Facebook? How do people engage with you? They want to talk to you a little more. Instagram
and Facebook are the things at the moment, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's George. I'll spell it Capon. That's how you pronounce George's last. That's how you spell George's last name. I've said it wrong so many times already. Capon. I remember. Cape on, Cape off.
There you go. That's the one.
It's like that. That we have a commercial in the United States for like if you want to turn on a lamp, you clap on and you clap off. Have you seen that product over where you are?
Doesn't I only know Amazon, Google Home and Amazon Echo, those things. Alexa.
Similar, but this is a product back in the 80s and 90s.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Clap on, clap off.
Yeah, I think I've seen it like a dodgy rom-com where the guy's trying to be really smooth and he'll clap the light on.
Yeah.
And start playing. That kind of thing.
That's right. That's cool. So. George, it was great having you on the show. By the way, can you shout out another musician that's in your neck of the woods? Musician or band? Because maybe what I'll do is, since I'm trying to open the show up to more people to join it, more original artists, if you can shout someone out, I might be cool and I can connect with them after the show's over.
There's a lot. This is really on the spot. There's a lot. The first one that comes to mind is Corella, who are a really great indie band I've listened to quite a while. They're absolutely fantastic. They're Manchester based.
Okay, what's their name again? Because it was a little bit foggy.
Corella, then. So it's Corella.
ELLA. Okay, I'll check them out.
And there's also a slightly heavier band called Sun Arcana that are really great. They're fantastic.
And who are they again?
Sun Arcana. They're based in London. So yeah, okay. And also Nadia Sheikh. Nadia Sheikh's fantastic. I used to play guitar for Nadia Sheikh.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's half Spanish, half English. She's absolutely fantastic. Really
nice.
Great. So,
okay. Yeah. Sweet. So thanks for shouting out those bands. That's cool. So have you been to, I'm curious about this because I've never been to London or the UK or anything like that. Abbey Road Studio. Have you checked out Abbey Road Studio?
Well, I haven't, man. I wish I did. I lived in London for a while and there was there was a few boxes that weren't ticked. So there will be a few visits back to London to kind of finish those off. But never been to Abbey Road. I drove past it. I went past it on the bus, drunk once, if that counts. And that's kind of about it, really. But it's. I know a lot of people get their tracks mastered there, so I think you can do that in the States. It's obviously all through online. So
I heard that.
Yeah.
So you drove past there drunk. Now you didn't lower the window of the bus you were in and vomit on Abbey Road, did you? Okay.
No, we used to have on the way back. There used to be the buses for London would basically give you a tour of London. So you would be on the bus for about an hour and a half, for what is really a 20-minute journey. Uh-huh. So it really, this is I just want to get home and get to bed rather than go to Abbey Road Studios.
Yeah,
drunk.
Yeah, they have those buses. Like for instance, right now, actually today, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and at nighttime, if you wanted to go from Scottsdale to Tempe, they have these little bus tours. I can't imagine I've been drunk before. It's been a long, long time, but I can't imagine being drunk. And the first thing when you're drunk is your head spinning. You see, if you lay down on a bed, everything's spinning around. I can't imagine being on a bus with my head spinning. That's making me sick right now.
Yeah, well, that's how it was. You got to pay the price if you get drunk in central London at 4 o'clock in the morning and you're trying to get home and you can't afford an Uber because you're a skint student. That was the price that we had to pay, unfortunately.
Yeah. Wow. Well, great, George. It's great having you on the show. I appreciate that a lot. I'm going to close the show with a couple of the bands you mentioned. I'm going to try to pick one of their songs out. That way I can seduce them to come on one of the future shows I got going on.
Amazing.
Okay, cool, George. Thanks so much for being on the show. I apappreciate it a lot.
You're a good interview, so yeah.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I'm going to record that. Wait a second. Let me press the record. So George says something. I want to make sure it gets out over the air. George gave me a compliment. What was it, George?
I said you were a good interview. I said you're a very good interview. Yeah.
Great. That's important. Okay. I don't want to hear the word good. I like the word great.
A great interview.
There we go. I'm going to clap to that. Clap on that one. Okay. All right, George. Thanks again. I'll talk to you later on.
Shoulders of people that we didn't really know. Can you see me? No. Never will the grass grow